All right, aloha once again to all the shifters out there, all the multidimensional friends within this holographic matrix, forever helping change this world, forever helping reshape the dream, forever helping make a difference in this world. This is Brendon, aka Skull Babylon, here with you live for another very exciting, educational, inspirational live broadcast of a Paradigm Shift Central team roundtable presented on behalf of ParadigmShiftCentral.com, a real-world interactive game to be able to help assist with the shift in consciousness. As mentioned, my name is Brendon, aka Wolf, aka Skull Babylon, and we are very excited to be able to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being able to take part in this broadcast. Obviously, just getting through a couple technical difficulties at the beginning. Not even difficulties, really just just like getting things all set up with the broadcast to be able to make sure that things are working properly. We may have lost the. Not sure if we lost the Facebook feed or not. But again, thank you so much for those of you tuning in. What we're going to do, we're going to give some general introductions to the project to be able to invite people into what it is that we got going on here, to be able to give you guys some very exciting updates in terms of what the Paradigm Shift Central project is creating and how you too can continue to be involved. So bear with me as we just kind of do a double check here to make sure whether or not we are streaming through on Facebook, and I'm thinking that we might not be broadcasting through Facebook. Let me just double check real quick. But oh geez, I don't even want to have to I don't even want to have to bother with that at this point. Again, thank you so much everyone for tuning into this, for being a part of this. What it is that we got going on here is the ongoing conscious creation of digital sacred space to be able to help build a global team of shifters, of people helping actively assist with the shift in consciousness. And a big part of the way that we do that is by being able to do these live broadcasts on a regular basis. And we've had some new upgrades on the website that I'm very excited to be able to share with you guys. And just give me 2 seconds. Matrix forever helping. Yeah, things are broadcasting through. Yeah, I think we lost the feed on Facebook. No. How did we lose the feed on Facebook? Do I even want to bother trying to get it back again? Maybe not. That's all right, nonetheless. All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this. Again, thank you for bearing with some of the technical difficulties that we got going on here. I'm actually going to just kind of do some multitasking here as to be able to bring you guys up to speed on what it is that we got going on within the Paradigm Shift Central project. So, as always, we are constantly looking to evolve and expand what it is that we are creating through ParadigmShiftCentral.com. And a big part of that is essentially working towards objectives. And what are these objectives? These objectives are about being able to help encourage and inspire people to choose to be the change that they wish to see in the world. And one of the very important and effective ways to be able to do that is by being able to create space where we can come together as community, which is essentially what it is that we are doing right here, right now, online. And so one of the upgrades that we've had recently activated within the Paradigm Shift Central project is the ability to be able to schedule things around a common website where people can be able to join in on a regular basis for this and future broadcasts. So if you check out live.paradigmshiftcentral.com, maybe you're already on it, then you will see that through there we have a single link where people will be able to tune in, and we'll be able to synchronize with our new schedule that we got going on. So as it is right now, we are rolling things forward with the broadcast here on Thursdays, which are our regular team building circles, previously known as team building circles, currently known as the roundtable discussions. And just give me 1 second, guys. I'm just yes, I am multitasking as I'm doing this. I apologize, but we're just trying to make sure that things are good so that we can share this to Facebook, because we always want to be able to help reach new people. And at the same time, this is also going to broadcast across Twitch, and the core recording is happening through YouTube. But essentially, yes, this is all just practice. And believe me, like, it's not going to be like this every time. I'm getting like a better scope on how to handle things. We've already made some big adjustments prior to this show even starting, and we are going to synchronize things so that now it should be broadcasting should be broadcasting through on Facebook, and I'm going to double check that in a second. So in terms of the schedule that we got going on for you guys to be able to join in on, because I think that's like a big way to be able to help make things happen in today's day and age, is that you've heard me talk about this before, but you know, like, how do you reach people? How do you reach people through the internet? How do you coordinate things with community? And one of the most effective ways to be able to do that is hold on. Why am I getting extra audio coming through on but again, thank you so much for those of you tuning in. What we're going to do, we're going to give you guys are going to be introductions to again, just working on some technical elements. Where is the recording of this coming through that I'm hearing in the background? I'm going to figure that out as I keep talking to you guys. And yeah, again, thank you for like bearing with me as we work through all the technical aspects of what it takes to be able to run a broadcast. But what it is that we got going on, we do have some other shifters who are actually with us here in the broadcast. We do have Sean and Turner. I'm gonna bring those guys on in a second. They're helping hold space for this. Again, you know, like, even if no one was tuned in tonight, I was still gonna run through this broadcast just for myself being able to practice things, for myself being able to create a habit out of being able to do these broadcasts. And so we got the roundtable broadcasts on Thursday, and what it is that we are also doing are the global meditations on Sundays. And so those are both at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also known as 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you on the West Coast. And geez, where is the extra? I think is that. Where is the? Hold on, guys. I'm just trying to. I don't even want to like stall to take up time here, but like, why am I? I'm like getting a feed. This is exactly what I was talking about with the guys earlier. I was getting like a feedback loop from something, and I can't even figure out where the actual feedback loop is coming through. You guys can't hear it right now because I turned it off. And close the Twitch channel. It was coming through on Twitch and I had it muted. That makes sense. Go figure. All right. Sweet. Okay, so let's keep rolling through with this. We got 3 people tuned in on YouTube. Again, thank you so much, guys, for being here. We're going to get into this. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about, like, we're good now. Everything's good. We're going to talk to you guys a little bit about, you know, the purpose and the vision of what it is that we are creating through Paradigm Shift Central. You know, this is about, like I said, creating a team, creating community. How do we do that? One of the core ways to be able to do this that I have found is, like, going to be something that I want to put focus on is creating regular broadcasts, is creating regular space where people can come, tune in, connect, be able to listen to inspiring conversation, be able to hear stories about other people who are helping assist with the shift in consciousness. As someone who's like on the spiritual path, one of the valuable things that you can get is to be able to develop accountability. That accountability can either be developed purely on your own, but it really helps when you're doing it with a community. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing in a new routine of schedules, a new schedule of broadcasts. And so, like I said, just recapping really quick, the basic schedule, we're just kind of introducing things step by step, is Thursdays roundtable broadcasts on, again, Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the last Thursday of every month is going to be a Destiny School broadcast. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Destiny School broadcasts are broadcasts where we focus towards having a conversation about a specific topic, and we take turns researching and presenting it within the broadcast. It's about being able to create a valuable piece of podcast, a valuable broadcast material to be able to be shared with the audience, to be able to be shared with the community, something that people can listen to over a 2-hour period or 3-hour period and be able to really gain some additional insights from. The Destiny School broadcast that we will be doing at the end of September, on the last Thursday of September, the topic of this, and I'm telling you now so you can like start getting hyped up for it, is going to be ancient cultures and spirituality. So that's actually going to be like a really interesting topic, and we got some other topics. I got them written down. We'll introduce those a little bit later as we go through this. And so again, Thursdays roundtable, last Thursdays of the month, Destiny School. Knowing the routines, knowing the schedules is going to be really, really valuable. I understand not everyone's going to be able to tune in for the live broadcast every time. That's totally cool. Listen to them online, but we're going to have like different broadcasts for you guys to be able to tune in at different times for. And then again, Sundays are going to be our global meditations at 9:30 p.m. And those are going to be really important. It's going to kind of be about building a different type of space, being able to create a different type of community ceremony. And doing the global meditations is something that I've always been a really big fan of within the Paradigm Shift Central project, and being able to do those on a weekly basis is something that I feel is going to be able to help yield some very potent results for the community over time. And part of that is like working towards the objective of like, okay, like if we have a milestone of like 20 people tuned in for a live broadcast, and then eventually 50 people, and then 100 people, working on that, the only way that we can get there is by creating routine, is by creating habits. So again, like even in this broadcast right now, like I can literally see, and obviously again, there are technical difficulties. This broadcast isn't going to be a long one. I think it's probably going to be like less than an hour. I can see that there's like literally 0 people tuned in on YouTube right now. I know I got Sean and Turner who are hanging out with me, and I'm going to pass the microphone to them in a little bit, just to, ask them what brings them to this round table. But again, like for me to be able to create success out of this, it's consistency, and it's being mindful of the energy and the vibration that I am putting out. So even though there's like 0 people tuned in live right now, which again, I'm not taking too personally, because damn, we screwed up ahead of time going into this and things like that. But we have to like broadcast with the energy as if there is like 100 people tuned in, and that's like the type of vibration that will bring people to this. And it's about creating the invitation. So for those of you who may be unfamiliar, the way how we do these broadcasts is that anybody can join them. All you have to do is be a member on ParadigmShiftCentral.com. You can create your membership profile for free. And if you scroll down on the live.ParadigmShiftCentral.com, you will see the link there for join on-air discussions. And then that will be able to link you up even into this one, like literally even into this one, as well as into future other ones. So let me just go over real quick in terms of the other broadcasts that we'll be doing in the future. We're kind of rolling them out bit by bit. I don't want to give you guys like too much information. A lot of you have been seeing me post through Instagram and things like that. Really been building my Instagram has been a big part of this bigger objective, to be able to help reach more people, to be able to help synchronize more people with Paradigm Shift Central. And if you haven't checked that out, check it out at Instagram.com/Mystic Spider-Man. And I'm just gonna open up things on just checking in, because I know we got a couple people tuned in on Facebook. So again, for people who are tuned in on Facebook, yeah, we are broadcasting to you guys across multiple streams right now. We want to be able to invite you guys on a regular basis to simply go to live.ParadigmShiftCentral.com to be able to tune in for future broadcasts. So again, we got 4 people tuned in on Facebook right now. Maybe some people tuned in on Twitch. I honestly can't even see the Twitch. I don't got it open right now. That's totally cool. And again, this is about being able to create community. This is about being able to create ritual. And it's about being able to create momentum. And so figuring out the technical stuff, doing the work, running the tests, this is all just practice. We're getting better at it. Obviously, we got a new interface now. Obviously, we're streaming across multiple platforms. Things are evolving. We're adapting with the times, and we're helping lead the way in terms of creating some very exciting broadcasts for the community that, quite frankly, aren't really being done in a lot of other places. There are other people doing broadcasts, but I think doing a broadcast quite in the way that we're doing is something that has its unique value to it. And that's part of the reason why I want to do this, because I know that there's value to this. I know that people who tune into these broadcasts and not just listen to me talk, obviously, but who are part of the discussion, who are part of the team building, that means something to them. It helps them develop more, like, it allows them to become more aware of themselves. It allows them to develop relationships with others, to create friendships. And again, there's other aspects that I'm going to introduce to you guys in a second. Where are my notes? I should be following my notes right now. And again, we do have Turner and Sean also here with us. And again, I want to be able to get those guys in so that I can prove to you that I'm not here by myself. Like, believe it or not, I'm not doing this just by myself. In fact, we got like 3 people on YouTube, 3 people on Facebook, maybe a couple people on Twitch. That's a full circle right there. So let me just go over a couple things in terms of the basics of what I want to be able to share with you guys. Other broadcasts that we got going on in the week, you can see the schedule at live.ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Actually, I can show you guys like super easy what we got going on in terms of the website. So check this out. For those of you watching right now, boom. So we got the website up on screen right now, and if you are on live.paradigmshiftcentral.com, this is what you would be looking at. You can actually see the YouTube chat as it is. Again, if anybody's in the YouTube chat, please feel free to leave a comment. Not entirely active too much at the moment, but again, that's totally cool. And through there, you can also check out the links on the side for the past recordings. So this is where you come. You can land on any of these, check out all the past recordings, and through there, you can also scroll down for the schedule is what I want to point out. So on the schedule right now, if you were to zoom in on that, you would see that again. Roundtables on Thursdays, that's what we're doing right now. Sunday meditations at 9:30, that's coming up this Sunday. Monday morning, we have our team tarot card reading. Again, that's going to be something that like I've been doing before, but now we're going to kind of multi-stream it. That's going to take me a little bit just to get in the habit of that, but really working on doing that. That'll be a cool place to be able to tune in to get a tarot reading for the week for the team, to be able to provide some additional insight. And then essentially from there, the next broadcast, and again, this is getting like regular broadcasts throughout the week, but each one serves an intention, each one serves a purpose. And again, if you can see the schedule, I'm just kind of like, I would have to zoom in right now, but I'll just kind of like take it off in a second so that you guys can see my face if you want to look at that, God forbid. But on Tuesdays, this is like what the schedule is looking like so far. So again, Mondays, team tarot card reading at 9:30 in the morning. All you gotta do is go right to live.paradigmcentral.com, tune in for that. Dream class coming up on Tuesdays. We're going to be reigniting that. That's going to be swapping out every other Tuesday. So what it is that we're going to be doing on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the evening, we're going to be having a discussion about dreams, about consciousness, about metaphysics, about the nature of soul, and really developing, like a bit of accountability, much more accountability in terms of being able to work on our dream recall, in terms of being able to work on our dream practices. And so I'm just switching things over here so you can just bring back up onto the webcam. And then the other schedules that we have is so dream class is every other Tuesday. It's going to be this Tuesday if all things go well. Again, we're getting right into this Tuesday. We're going to have dream class. You'll see me promoting it and stuff like that. So again, join in on the discussion. If talking about dreams is something that you're into, join in for dream class on Tuesday. The important thing to note is that dream class rotates out every other Tuesday. So on Tuesday evenings, once a week, it will be dream class. And then the next week, it will be like reading conscious spiritual books. Like most likely that will just be like a solo cast by myself. It will just be kind of like a little bit easier for me to kind of manage with that. It won't be a full discussion. Doing these broadcasts obviously takes like energy and things like that. So doing a dream class every week isn't quite what we want to do. It spaces things out so that we have a little bit of time to be able to integrate our practices. But in the midst of each dream class from week to week, we would be doing conscious reading. So you get to tune in and be able to like have some discussion, like listen to me like reading some spiritual books, and might be able to throw in some like ASMR stuff in there as well. And then from there, the next broadcast that we would have would be on Wednesdays, which is Paradigm Shift Central News at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Paradigm Shift Central News, for those of you who aren't familiar, is focused on being a 1-hour broadcast that focuses on featuring new content within the community, such as new like video that someone has released, hitting upon some quick updates, inviting you guys into the next broadcast, sharing some like inspirational insights, and even having a 10-minute call-in guest on the show. But really, the intention behind that is like where this one, again, like right now, it's practice. I apologize. I realize that like this is kind of like just, we're working on refining things, and these broadcasts, these conversations in team circles, they won't always be as sporadic as this one, I assure you, but like they can be like 3-hour long conversations. The Central News is a great piece of material that we would be able to co-create through compilation of new videos, quest journals, and interviews, to be able to create like like a 1-hour piece for people to be able to tune into. So maybe if there's people who aren't able to listen to the 3-hour broadcast that we got on Roundtable, or they're not able to tune in for everything, if they were to tune in on the news, then they would be able to get like, okay, quick updates. And the cool idea about creating the news is that it focuses on having people's content featured. So say for example, my friend makes a new video, but their video is like not getting a lot of views just on its own. If we can feature it through Paradigm Shift Central News and say like 100 people are watching Paradigm Shift Central News, then that's promoting their content. and it's telling people to go and subscribe to their channel. And again, you know, like this is going to start off, it's going to take momentum. This is going to take work. It's going to be something that we're going to build. But the potential of Paradigm Shift Central News is really cool because, again, it's inviting you guys to help with the co-creation of what the news content will be. So again, you know, that's going to be quest journals on the main website, and we'll talk a bit about that as we keep going to be able to focus on more of the creation that we'll be doing through the main website. And so that brings us all the way up to Thursday, which is, again, where we are now. So, I mean, that's a week right there. So, again, Thursday, Roundtable, Sunday, Global Meditation, Monday morning, Team Tarot, Tuesdays, Dream Class or reading spiritual books, Wednesdays, Paradigm Shift Central News. I know it sounds crazy, but like I've worked this into my schedule. It's possible. It's totally possible. Having everything set up ahead of time for myself is kind of like what's going to make this all doable. And again, your support from you guys is a huge part in this. And we found out some new hacks to be able to like broadcast across like Facebook and Twitch multiple simultaneously, a little bit easier so that we're not getting as much lag. Yeah, all's good. You know, like this is, we're showing up, we're doing the work. And it's going to take work to be able to make this happen. But again, what are our objectives? Our objectives are to inspire people. Our objectives are to encourage people to be creating conscious media as a personal form of self-development, to be able to work on themselves, and also to be able to create the physical paradigm shift communities. So the physical paradigm shift communities are like a big part of this. For those of you who aren't familiar, the physical paradigm shift communities are about being able to have regular open-minded discussion and meditation circles. And so again, you know, we created one here in London, Ontario, Canada. That's like the genesis of what Paradigm Shift Central started as, a single club in my college. And then again, we just continued it. And I was going to school for broadcasting. That's why all this is broadcast oriented and stuff like that. So it's using those skills. And then again, from there, what we're doing is we're continuously building the story. We're inviting people to be a part of the discussion. This is, like I said, this isn't just going to be like me talking. Like I'm helping captain the ship, but we're building a crew. We're building a team, and that's where the invitation is there. So we got a few people tuned in right now. You guys can be a part of the discussion. Maybe it's this week, maybe it's next week, but you guys can be a part of the co-creation of the ongoing documentation of the shift in consciousness by sharing our stories, which is such a powerful thing, because when we have a place where we're invited to be able to show up to share our stories, to be able to say like, oh, you know, what happened this week? Well, you know, like I was talking to an old man at a bus stop and he was telling me all about astral projection. And then we got talking about spirituality. Come in, tell us about the synchronicities. Tell us about the stories that have been unfolding in your life. Tell us about like the work and the art that you are creating. Tell us about the visions and intentions that you have. Tell us about the paradigm shift community and the conscious meetup events that you are helping organize. Share these stories so that other people will become inspired to be able to take action where you are, and collectively as a team, we will build momentum. We share in the collective momentum of the team. So that's some really exciting stuff. And I think like just in that, like that kind of summarizes the value of what it is that we are creating right now. You know, what it is that we are doing, what the vision of this is, what the scope of this is, what the potential of this is. So with that said, I'm going to bring on, I guess Sean had to leave. So Turner, yo, what's up? I'm going to bring Turner on. Like I said, we're going to keep this broadcast short-ish, like probably wrapped up by like 12:30, if even before then, which is totally cool, because again, this is just like getting in some habits, getting in some practice, and then next time I'm like, okay, sweet, I know how to work it now, and we'll be able to jump right into it. So with that said, I'm gonna bring on Turner. Let me just press some buttons here in the broadcast software. We're gonna swap things here, so it's gonna like flip the mirror. You guys are gonna see that. That's just the way how Google works. And then we're gonna bring Turner in. So Turner, I'm gonna bring up your microphone, and I'm just gonna invite you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what brings you to the roundtable. And so again, you know, like with the idea that this is a roundtable, anchoring into that archetype of, you know, Knights of the Round Table, being of service. What does that mean? And that's like a big part of the energy that it is that we are promoting, that we are creating within this project. That's where we get into the whole idea of what it means to be a shifter, what it means to be a light guardian. So this is about building a global team of people who are actively hearing the call to be able to help assist with a shift in consciousness. And so thank you again to everyone for being a part of this. So Turner, with that said, I'm going to pass the talking stick over to you. Give me a thumbs up if that's cool with you. Cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for holding space. Thanks for being patient, man. Thanks to you to the viewers as well for being here. Those of you who may be new, those of you who have been like tuned in for years and stuff like that. Really appreciate you guys doing here. And yeah, let's hear a little bit from Turner, and I'll take a break for a second. So Turner, I'm gonna pass the talking stick over to you, and let me just pull up the audio. And when you're ready, dude, go right ahead and introduce yourself to the people of the internets. And again, just who you are, where you're from, and what brings you to Roundtable. So whenever you're
Yeah,
ready.
sure. Um, Hello, everyone who's a part of this. My name is Turner, as you've heard, and I grew up in Wisconsin, Minnesota kind of area. And, what really brings me to this table, to this broadcast community, is just to share my insights and the journey that I've been on in, kind of understanding my own personal truth and wanting to share that with the rest of the world. So I definitely really appreciate being here and being able to speak about, a lot of the insights and, lessons that I've learned through my own life and journey.
Awesome, man. Right on, dude. Well, again, thank you so much for being here, man. And yeah, we can just kind of like, at this point, like you're a part of the circle. You're also helping kind of like co-host this experience, co-pilot, whatever you want to think of it. Like this is a ship that we got going on here. So as we kind of like build the
I'll try
crew,
not to sink it.
what's that?
I'll try not to sink it.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, it's a spaceship, so I don't know if sinking would be the right term, but definitely we got to keep it. Got to keep it. Like got to do the maintenance where it need be and everything like that. But once we got enough like hands on board and stuff, we'll be able to take this to some pretty awesome places. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, man, and shout out to people who are lighting up the chat room right now. Unconditional love, dropping those 1111s in the live chat on YouTube. And for those of you on YouTube, just state the obvious. You guys will be able to see how your conversations on YouTube are going to be showing up across the board, are going to be showing up on the live stream. So obviously, be mindful of that. We are granting you guys permission to be able to add your voice to the live stream, and God knows that's going to bite us in the butt when we get some trolls in here. But that's what we'll be able to turn it on and off real quick as need be. Let me just open up the Twitch real quick. Do we got anybody? Yeah, we got some comments there on Twitch real quick. All right. Okay, let me just double check. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, Turner. Like, what are some of the things that you are doing to help assist with the shift in consciousness, and kind of keeping in mind, like as this is just practice, your message has the potential to inspire other people. And for people who are tuned into this, I say this to all of you because there's a lot that we all have to bring to this table, so this is an invitation. But yeah, man, in what ways are you helping assist with the shift in consciousness? And that can be in terms of like art you're creating, community stuff, and even just like the personal development aspect. So just kind of like holding up the mirror for you to sort of think out loud about that. But passing the talking stick back to you, dude.
Well, I would like to say that one of the biggest ways that I'm helping in this consciousness shift is really through my voice. I've spent a lot of time and effort on myself developing who I am as a person. I used to be very depressive and um, very anxious, and I wasn't able to talk to people. And I was really able to kind of push myself to being the kind of person that is completely comfortable, sitting and having that conversation with whomever it may be, just a subway or someone on the street, just really focusing my attention on that person and having that conversation and seeing where it may go. But as far as projects that I'm working on that I am very excited on, and helping this shift in consciousness, I've been putting a lot of time and effort into a water business that I've really been working on promoting. So with my water, I'm trying to bring awareness into people's waters that they drink. And change shifting away from drinking just your tap water mindlessly into more of understanding how you can change your water and put this living water back into your body, which is much more beneficial with you. So I've been doing a lot of research and just having conversations with other people.
Cool, man. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. Obviously, like water is an essential part of life and source, and
Hmm.
making things happen and stuff like that. But yeah, no, go ahead, man. Like again, like in terms of like anything that you're bringing to the round table, like this is an opportunity for us to be able to educate each other, and you've got me curious. So if you want to talk a little bit more about again, just like what you're doing, because again, like this is being able to hear your guys' stories. This is important for me because it helps me understand, like like who's here, who's amongst the team. And so again, just quick shout out as I pass it back to Turner. For anybody tuned into this, you guys can join this broadcast. All you got to do is go to live.paradigmshiftcentral.com/join hangout and make sure that you're a member on the website, and then you can follow the Google link there and do that for any broadcast, and it's the same pattern. So but yeah, Turner, passing it back to you, man. You just a little bit more about what you mean by like bringing more life back into people's water, and why that's important.
Yeah. My journey really started off of a couple of TED Talks that was discussing a new structure in water that they discovered, which is H3O3. To kind of compare it back to what normal water is, H2O. It's the molecular structure of it is very clumped. And when it changes to that next structure, H3O3, it breaks up those molecules, the structure, and it creates a more linear fashion, which is much better for your cells to absorb, as well as for the whole detoxification process that goes on through your body. And when they made this discovery by simply just comparing a water that was going down through like mountains, and then kind of comparing that to just normal tap water, whatever you would use, yeah, they were able to verify that the molecular structure of it is different. Which also led them to discover how when children or just younger people in general drink water, their body automatically breaks down that water into a linear structure, so it's easier for your body to absorb. And it's a function that begins to deteriorate as you grow older, which is why older people find it a lot harder to keep themselves hydrated. That ability to break down their water so they absorb it, so it just passes right through them. So, me personally, I stream and a well that people use very often, and seeing people choosing to drink well water instead of the water that was in their home kind of led me to really question like why they're doing this. What's so beneficial about drinking well water versus just the filtered water you get from your fridge. So for me, what I do in my personal life is I take water straight from a river, not even from the wells that a lot of people get it, and I process it through a distiller to remove any of the impurities or anything that could harm me in the water, bringing it to a state that's most clean. And then from there, I go about, alchemizing the water, changing the structure of it into something that's a lot more beneficial to me and my body.
And when you say changing the structure of it, what's the process that like what's technology involved with that?
So if you look at how in other forms of nature, there's certain processes that already exist. That I wanted to bring up to light is the vortex. Our galaxies spin in a vortex. When we take a spoon and stir it in the water, it forms a vortex. Whirlpools, vortexes, tornadoes, vortex. The vortex in itself is a very powerful natural, function that nature uses. So the simplest way of, breaking up the structure of water, energizing your water, bringing this water to a living, energetic form is through creating a vortex in the water. It's you can do it just by like taking a spoon and swirling it up, but that's not necessarily as powerful as a vortex, though it still is effective. I don't know if you've ever seen those things at shops, but it's like a little twist cap that you can put onto a bottle, and then you turn it upside down. You attach two bottles with this little twist cap between them. You turn it upside down, give it a little counter swirl, and it creates a vortex between the bottles. It's marketed off as kind of like a little fun game toy little thing, but it actually is very powerful, and you can use that to structure your water as the vortex will break down the structure of the water.
So it breaks down the structure of the water.
I guess I shouldn't really say break down. That would feel like moving from like getting rid of. I feel like that kind of implements, but
Mm-hmm.
more like shaking it up, like freeing it from being so clumped together into something that's more linear.
Okay, okay. And then so like through that, like it can be like just
Yep,
used by the body better.
it passes through the cellular wall a lot easier.
Interesting, interesting.
Mhm.
So like yeah, like this is like I like them, and then so like if it's passing through the cellular wall, is this are we kind of talking about like oxygenating reoxy I don't know the word for that reoxygenating like the cells at a molecular level? Is that part of it?
Yeah, yeah, that is a part of it. It's
Because that's
a
I've definitely heard of like that's really important, and that's where you get into
mhm,
like alkalinity and stuff like that too.
mhm. Yep. Um, there's a lot of benefits that drinking living water. There's a lot of names for this kind of water. Um, Crystal water, living water, structured water. A lot of people say hexagonal water, but that's kind of a iffy term to throw around if you don't know how to properly explain that to people. But yeah, um, for me personally, once I'm able to structure my water, create this living water that I'm bringing into my body, I also use some other practices, going from a metaphysical point of view into my water as well, because water does contain memory in it. Everything you do to the water, everywhere the water goes and passes through, leaves an impression on the water molecule itself. So um, I definitely take some personal practices into creating a really positive impression on the water. So I can bring those positive, energetic vibes into my body and,
Mm.
turn that into something that I can then share with other people in the world around me.
Right, right. Yeah, because I mean, like, this is where we kind of get into the idea of, like, like Miyamoto, Miyam- Miyam-
Mm-hmm.
yeah, where, like,
Miyamoto.
Miyamoto, where, again, like, talking about the whole idea of being able to program water with intention, like, that's obviously, like, this big conversation there. It's something, like, definitely worth talking about and stuff like that. But I guess you're saying if the water has kind of been like recalibrated in the way that you're talking about, then it's going to be like more receptive to that
Yep.
reprogramming process and like
Yeah.
the intentions that you're putting into it type thing.
Yeah. You can kind of understand it from a different perspective as well when people go to kind of restructuring their subconscious minds, getting rid of mindsets that they developed as a child that are affecting them today, going about through techniques such as hypnosis, having that kind of blank slate that you can then leave impressions on that are stronger than, the normal state of things where you have a lot of resistance to those. Um, Kind of like the same with water, bringing it back to
Mm-hmm.
like a clean blank state, like using through hypnosis with a person, bringing them back to this, you know, plain state, and then going along from there. It's a lot easier to kind of go with the impressions that you're trying to put on it at that point.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty interesting. And again, it's one of those things that like a lot of people don't really bring too often into like their day-to-day practice, like just the idea of
Mm-hmm.
like even thinking too much about. I mean, a lot of people are using filters and stuff on their taps these days,
Mm-hmm.
which helps obviously, but there's a lot of other ways that we can kind of work with our water, and yeah, like I'm really into the idea of just like creating like alkaline water. And anybody who's
Mm-hmm.
like heard in past broadcasts, there's like the Space Light formula, which is an electrolyte supplement for water that is like a very unique formula that's like a potassium bicarbonate that basically like allows kind of what we were talking about. It allows like the oxygen like molecule to be able to go into the cell, so it reoxygenizes the
Hmm,
cells. And
cool.
so this is like one of the most, if not the most, at least from my knowledge, the most effective way to be able to like oxygenize your water. Again, I apologize if that's
Yeah,
not like not the proper word for it,
that's all right.
but yeah, and it's like also like a great way to be able to balance out pH levels as well, because like you're getting the potassium through there, and that's like a huge thing, because you know like a lot of people they're the reason why they're not healthy is actually just like because like their pH levels are out of balance. They're either
Mhm.
like too acidic or they're not acidic enough. So like you want to have that like balanced health, the balanced pH level. And one of the ways how we do that is by being able to like you know like bring things like good water into our system, like a
Yeah.
good you know just like potassium intake. And again, most people are not getting anywhere near their daily recommended amount of potassium for you know they're like eating bananas and avocados and things like that, but like even that's like not even enough. And
Yeah.
so the only place that we can and if you start looking into this, you know you can almost sort of begin to see it's just like, why is potassium so hard to get? Why is it so hard to find like a good source of potassium intake? And you know like oftentimes the only place that you can find it are in sports drinks, which are also like super loaded up with like additional sugar, which is not really what you want, right? So it's just like, okay, there's got to be
Yeah.
alternative options. But yeah, that's the space light formula, which is actually on the website underneath the quest item shop. If you click
Hmm.
on the menu button, people can check that out. It's like, yeah, that stuff's been like super like under the radar and everything like that. But going back to kind of like what, and if people want more info on that, send me a message. But honestly, like that, because I could talk a lot more about Spacelight, but this isn't like just like, but I will be doing that in the future because Spacelight has the potential to help people. And basically, all it is just like a powder that dilutes into water, and you just like shake your bottle, and it's super effective. And again, from that sense, it's like helping people with like arthritic pain and you know joint pains, and even like helping people who like, and this is not me making this up, but people who have been like living with cancer. It actually like helps them within like their
Hmm.
like ability to heal from the cancer and stuff like that. Because again, you
Yeah.
know, cancer can only exist in an acidic environment. So if you can
Hmm.
balance out the pH levels, if you can bring in like what you need, then like the again, I don't have like all the super scientific words about it and stuff like that, but like the cancer like isn't able to continue to thrive in that environment. It's the environment that you change that affects like the cancer's ability to either continue reproducing or not. But yeah, for anybody who's interested in Spacelight, feel free to send more messages. Send me a message if you're interested in stuff like that, because it is still kind of available. But I want to ask you, yeah, like what you're talking about. What's some places that people can go to get some more information on it, or if they wanted to, if you wanted them to contact you, how would they go about doing that?
If they wanted to learn some more information about it, honestly, like one of my greatest sources that I get, just to scratch the surface to really begin to understand something about what I'm trying to understand is YouTube. Just simply typing whatever on YouTube and then just watching a couple of videos, because they will lead you down the rabbit hole of, kind of beginning to understand what it is that you want to. Just YouTube living water and just kind of sit back and watch a
Hmm.
couple of videos and hear other people's opinions and use that to form your own.
Word, man. Yeah, and
Um,
go ahead if there's more of that.
Actually, I wanted to go back to what you were saying before about
Sure.
it's really hard for people to get their potassium intake. Cream of tartar, a baking substance that's in everyone's cupboards or might be in everyone's cupboards that is very high in potassium. You can just put a little bit, a teaspoon in your water.
What is it?
You
Did you say
hardly take it.
tartar?
Cream of tartar. Yeah,
Cream of.
cream of tartar.
I've never heard of that.
Really?
I don't know. Like I don't know if that's like an American thing or something. Is it a Wisconsin thing? Tartar,
It's.
like tartar
I thought it
sauce.
was American.
I don't
I
know.
live in America, but
I guess I
I
don't
think
know.
it's widely available.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Okay, cream of tartar. Okay, taking notes
Yeah,
here.
just take a little bit, put it in your water, like a teaspoon, shake it up, hardly taste it at all, and just, you can drink that and get a large amount of the potassium that you need.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. So yeah, there's definitely a variety of possibilities out there and stuff. But again, like I think the conversation here is about the importance of being able to take interest in like alternative ways to be able to help be like more capable of deciding what's going to happen with our body, how to be able to almost kind of like understand these like hacks to be able to optimize our health. Because I think like as a spiritual, as a person on this spiritual quest, it's incredibly important to be able to continuously pay attention to our body, to be able to like maintain our vehicle, our vessel. Because like if we're working on being spiritual, like a big part of that, and again, I use spiritual in quotations, that's a whole conversation in itself, but like a big part of it is kind of like this idea of becoming more in tune with our intuition. And so that happens as the body becomes healthier, as the vessel becomes clearer. And so, a simple metaphor that I'll just kind of share, and then, we'll just like chit chat for a little bit more, and we'll just like, I'll hit upon some other things related to the project, and we'll probably wrap up this broadcast in a bit. Again, this is all just a test run, and anything Turner wants to talk about as well, we can take time to talk about that. And again, if anybody wants to join the broadcast, it's not too late. Again, you guys know how to join. But what I was gonna say, what was I saying? Oh geez.
Simple metaphor.
Simple. What? Oh god.
A simple metaphor, simple saying.
Oh yeah.
From the
Okay.
tip of your tongue.
No. I remember now. Okay. It's actually not that simple, but it is simple. Okay. Thank you. That's embarrassing when it's just like, oh god, when you're like thinking so far in the future that you forget the present. Sometimes happens. When you're broadcasting, at least. Okay. What I was gonna say was, it's this idea of like all of us as individuals, we all shine a magnificent light, and we all shine this magnificent light at like the same potential, or at least we have the potential to shine it at that potential. Sorry, I didn't word that very well. What I'm saying is that like all of us shine the exact same amount of light. The only difference is the amount of mud or gunk or dirt that we have covering it up. So like you think of like that light as being like the center of our chest, and then you think of like our body and everything, and our body goes through things, and as we go through life, it's like this like mud and this dirt kind of like piles over the light. And so over time, it's just like the light doesn't become any less. It's just that it doesn't shine as bright because there's got like a bunch of mud on it or a bunch of gunk on it. So our job is to basically like remove the gunk, to remove the dirt, to clear our own doorstep, to like literally clean our room, metaphorically speaking and literally speaking, so and so I mean like in that process, like that is like kind of what activates us into a healthier state, is what allows the body to be able to naturally heal itself in the ways that it is capable of. And I mean, and like that's the beautiful thing, right? It's just like, my god, like what is this body capable of? Like how much is there that we have yet to even tap into? And that's where like I'm really interested in the idea that it seems like there's like almost like kind of hidden tricks for how to be able to like do things with this body on kind of like a metaphysical level. And this is like even getting into realms of like meditation and things like that. Like what are the purposes of mantras? What are the purposes of mudras, which are like the hand symbols that you do like while meditating? What is the purpose of stillness? What is the purpose of posture? What is the purpose of directing thought? How much can you actually, what can you actually do with literally just closing your eyes in stillness and directing your thoughts? Because like unless people are like meditating and stuff like that, hardly anybody is literally taking like 10 minutes just sit there and be with their thoughts. But you can go through different levels, and like the part that I'm really interested in is like getting to the point where you're sitting there and you're meditating, and it's not so much like you're just sitting there and you're observing your thoughts, but it's like you're actively flying a freaking spaceship through hyperspace, and that spaceship is like your focus, and you're going through like a collective internet, an internet, and you can like access like higher dimensional information and kind of practice creating realities and get really psychedelic about things literally just by using your own mind. And so like what if like we actually have like this ability to kind of like see into other parts of the universe, or connect with like higher entities, or communicate with within like other realms and things like that, or even connect on like soul levels. And all it takes is just kind of like, oh, you want to do that? Okay, like step one, clean up your gunk, get that all checked. And then step two, follow these, like, do these like physical things, like do the, like bring your body to a certain state where, again, it's like it's a matter of like
Yeah.
vibrational frequencies and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to that. And it's just like an intuition thing, and it's not just an intuition thing, it's also come from experience and stuff. Like even the idea of like eye gazing, and open-eyed gazing and stillness. Like I know from my own experience that if you sit in stillness and if you're like keeping your eyes open and you're like looking at something like either a flame or like a trippy like animation on a computer screen even, or like yourself in the mirror, and you hold that vision for like a degree of stillness, the reality around you like literally begins to shift. Like you literally begin to see the veil like slowly kind of like begin to peel itself back. You're just like, ooh, like this reality is like not as like super solid as it appears to be. Like there's something happening. Like I'm observing this, right? And then if we like stand up, it stops. But if we sit there in that stillness, it can go further. It can go deeper and stuff like that. So like this is where you start getting into the idea of like remote viewing and things. It's just like we
Yep.
know remote viewing's possible. Not
Yep.
everyone can do it right now, but everyone has the potential to. And it is something that
You,
takes practice. It is something that can take training. But anyways, passing the talking stick over to you, man. Like these are, I love these topics. These topics
yeah.
are like, talk about these another time too, because I need more people to think on this level. So yeah, go ahead, man. What do you think?
Going back to what you were saying before, about how we have to get rid of this mud and stuff in our bodies. That's very powerful that you said that. I just actually watched a video that was describing it exactly like that. That's very cool.
Cool.
But if you replace the word potential and instead think in like frequency, like radios and stuff, like we all have this like very powerful frequency that can reach wherever we need it to. But like you said, like we build all of this mud and dirt. It's just from our physical senses. Like our own physical senses kind of have their own level of dirt. That's just what we're born with. That's the dirt that's been placed before us when we're born into. But then we start eating food that isn't beneficial to us whatsoever. We're constantly bombarded with entertainment that is distracts us, and we aren't taught how to properly build our mentality, our mental states of mind. We're not shown that. Those are things that we have to figure out. And unless you have that interest in yourself or exposed to it through some other person in your life, you're just not going to be aware of that because it's not being taught. All these different things continue to build more dirt, more grime, and stuff that at once, even like you understand that this is stuff that's not affecting you, you then have to put the extra work into removing that, you know? So all these different things kind of make it harder for your frequency to kind of go out there. It dims down your frequency, it turns it down, the volume knob on it. So once you're able to start kind of understanding this stuff and shedding away these things, these toxins from your life that aren't serving you, and then even go this extra step further of disassociating yourself from your senses, taking the time to close your eyes, to clear your mind, sit there in stillness, not feel anything, not try to taste anything, pushing yourself away from those senses, you can then begin to, take that dirt away and get back to what the essence of you as a person is. Yeah, it's really powerful stuff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. Like it gets pretty deep and everything like that, because like that's where, again, like it's kind of very similar to tapping into the natural psychedelic state of this reality without doing psychedelics. It's like the idea of like samadhi and things like that. And I think like that's something that like a lot of people are interested in. I'm kind of like seeing posts about it on Instagram and things. Like people who maybe have been like working with cannabis for a while, or maybe they've spent the last like 4 years doing mushrooms, LSD, and DMT, and then eventually they're just like, okay, like those substances, like they work until they don't. type thing, and it's up to us to kind of like figure out when that is, right? Like, have they kind of served their purpose? And then eventually part of the purpose they serve is to actually develop our willpower so that we can learn how not to become dependent on them and how to like reach these states that we've become
Mhm.
familiar with through like our own natural processes and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, okay, the psychedelics, like, they prove to you that these states exist. They prove to you that they are within arm's reach. And then so it's like, okay, what's like again, you know, like no one's handing us the instruction manual. No one's handing us the instruction manual for this like body that says like, okay, you know, like press like up down a b a b, and that's how you access, you know, higher dimensional realms, right? Like it's not that simple. It like maybe it is in some ways, but I think like that's where it's like really important for us as a community to be able to kind of like explore these things together. And like honestly, this is where I'm getting really interested and excited about doing the upcoming meditations on Sundays, because like I want to really kind of like use that space to tap into some very interesting potential, you know, in terms of like allowing people to kind of like sink into that stillness and allowing them to kind of like tune into that inner vision, and allowing themselves to kind of like open spaces for their soul messages to be able to come through to them and for them to be able to have like visceral experiences. Like it was actually really cool. Just like a quick story, just on the side of this, and just again, you know, taking a moment here. Thanks to everyone tuned in. We got 3 people tuned in live on YouTube at the moment. If you guys are, you know, enjoying this, please feel free to drop a like on YouTube. And I don't know, do we have anybody tuned in on Twitch? I have no idea. Let me just check. I don't even. Whatever. It's okay. Twitch is like, I love Twitch, but I had to close the window. Okay. But I was saying, you know, I was at a party a couple weekends ago, and this girl came up to me, and I hadn't seen her for years, and she came up to me and she's like, "You're Brendon," and I'm like, "Yes, that is correct." Am I? What is this name I've been given? But she says, like, you know, like, I came to one of your paradigm shift meetups like 5 years ago, and when we were there, you did a guided meditation. And during this guided meditation, she said that it was like the most potent guided meditation that she had ever experienced. Even after that point, like whatever I did in that meditation was like something that like didn't happen again for her quite in the same way. And she was like, yeah, like I just wanted to come up and thank you, because like that was like that really like begun. It kind of like set me on a path, and I was like exploring things and everything like that. And she got into like meditation in her own way. But what made the meditation unique was like I was playing a singing bowl, and again, it's kind of like it's an element of storytelling that's really important. It's about using voice that's really important. And also through meditation, I'm really interested in this idea, and I'll talk about this more on Sunday. And I'd love to know, you know, people in the chat what you guys think about this concept as well. But it's this idea of like the difference between projected thoughts and received thoughts when you're meditating. So it's kind of like this idea of, you know, I'm telling you, okay, like you're walking towards like a house, and there's a field, and you know, like you're walking towards it, and then you go inside the house and stuff like that, and you're kind of visualizing, you're projecting this image of the house and stuff. And then eventually I say, okay, like inside the house there's a door, and there's another door, and there's like a crack of white light behind it. On the other side of that door there's a message from the universe meant just for you. And so what you're going to do, you're going to kind of like sink into this space, and you're going to open this door, and you're going to walk through it, and based on the narrative that we've kind of been creating, you're going to be able to receive whatever is meant for you on the other side of that door. And so again, it's kind of like creating like a cup that the universe kind of pours its thought or its signals into. And then if we're in that receptive state, you know, it's just kind of like vroom. And you know, like what's on the other side of that white door, like it might be, you know, like we might create some sort of general context where it's like, you know, maybe this is about connecting with like loved ones who have passed on, or maybe this is about visioning your future, or maybe this is about tapping into like and healing like past trauma or something like that, or like, you know, like going back in time and forgiving your child self, or you know, like hugging your child self. You know, you can get into like all these different infinite ideas. But again, it's a really fascinating idea, because again, it starts bringing into question like, what is the mind? How does it work? How much of it is actually inside of us versus how much of it is actually being kind of like received, kind of like, again, like as a conscious antenna, and how can we tune our antenna to be able to receive guidance specifically meant for us in that moment, that can provide some very meaningful visceral experiences. And so again, you know, that girl, she was saying, like, she was like, yeah, like that was a really, like, it was like, she said it was basically, she felt like she was in a dream, but she knew she wasn't, but she was like still conscious, and the visions for her were very vivid. So it's kind of like, for those of you who've had that experience, there's certain states in meditation where it's just like you're sitting there, you're closing your eyes, it's like, okay, I'm seeing the back of my eyelids right now, it's black, aka like I'm not really seeing anything. And then sometimes you can like sink a little bit deeper, and then it's just like, holy crap, I just saw something that was like as if it was in front of me. Like that was like an actual, like there was substance to it, there was color to it, there was like you know, there was a sensation to it. And then like that can be a whole experience in itself. And so that experience, I think, is something that can be tapped into, through the practice of guided meditation, through the practice of stillness, through the practice of breath, and just like, again, kind of like storytelling and all those cool things. But yeah, Turner, if you want to jump in on anything like that, I'm sure, you know, like this stuff's right up your alley as well and everything. I don't know if I have a question, but if there's anything you just want to bring to the roundtable, by all means, just on this topic of like, you know, like meditation and how to tap into these, you know,
Yeah.
experiences.
I was what you said before, you know, is these stories, these guided meditations through storytelling, you know, leading people down a certain path. You know, I feel like if people are able to listen to that kind of stuff, they kind of don't have to think anymore. You know, they just have to follow. It's kind of like shuts down like a certain kind of barriers. You know, where you have to think, you have to
Yeah,
act.
that makes sense.
But if you're just following someone, you can just act without thinking about it because you're just following. So, you know, when you get to that point where you're just like, all right, you're walking through this door, and beyond this door is something the universe needs to tell you. People don't have to think about what that is anymore. You know, they're following the story, they walk through the door, and then all of a sudden, because they're not thinking about what the universe needs to tell them, they're just following the story. That opens that space that allows them to, you know, receive something, you know, that might be personally for them. That's really cool to me because that makes me think about how you can have 10 different people, right, standing like right next to each other, and they can see like a car crash like right in front of them. Now, they all just witnessed the same thing. They're all standing in the same place. They just saw the same thing. Yet when they walk away from that, there will be 10 different stories that will be told. They all had their own unique experience through the same thing that they witnessed. You know, we're as a guided meditation, you can have 15 or 20 different people following along with this meditation. But, you know, when you get to that point where, you know, you create this space for to be received from something, you know, you open yourself up and allow yourself to be received, you know, that it's so powerful because people can receive whatever it is that they need to. It's entirely different from what anybody else who's listening to that exact same thing may pull from it because it is now specifically for you. And you don't have to think about it. You know, you don't have these barriers that are diluting that truth, you know, that of whatever you it is that you need to be heard. It's really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you can kind of definitely see like where, yeah, we're talking on the same wavelength and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, I'd love to even just be able to, as we kind of like move towards wrapping up this broadcast, because we don't need to be on here for like 3 hours talking. Like we could, But we
I
don't need
could.
to. I know, right? But and I appreciate you being here, man. It's nice just being able to chit chat. That's exactly why we have this space. But again,
Yeah.
also with the idea of using it for a little bit of brainstorming and a little bit of with the global meditation coming up on Sundays. I'd love to even just like check in with you and with anybody in the live chat. Like, what are some ideas that you would like to see happen within our global meditations? What are some type of things that we can do? Because like if we're doing this on a weekly basis, we kind of want to get creative with it, and we want to be able to keep it simple enough so that people who are tuning in for the first time can still be involved. But then again, there is going to be a degree of kind of like complexity and advancement that comes through it. And one of the things that I want to be able to actually do is like using the meditations to kind of like visualize like the grid around the earth, and then like encoding it with like love and consciousness and intention as this kind of experiment. This is where you get into the different ideas of like, can meditation focus on a particular area actually affect that area? Does the crime rate drop? Do people have less anxiety? It's kind of like a very hard thing to scientifically study, but it is something that can kind of like connect us into that bigger story, and they can kind of like allow us to be able to understand what is possible. And maybe it's one of those things where like if we believe it can happen, it can happen. If it's like something we invest our thoughts and our energies in, then it can happen. If we actually like visualize, essentially, we're talking like long distance Reiki healing on a collective global level, and asking the question, is that possible? Like, can that happen? What does that look like? How does that take place? So I mean, like, that's part of it as one thing. And one thing that I wanted to be able to do, and quick plug here for anybody tuning in. You've seen these are the light guardian crystals that I'm holding up to the camera right now. One of the ideas that I've had with these, to be able to share these with people through the Paradigm Shift Central project, when you guys sign up for the Patreon, you can be able to get yours. And yeah, of course, you can find the Patreon links in the information for this video. But one of the things that I want to be able to do is actually be able to like do guided meditations with people who also have these light guardian crystals while holding on to them during the meditation. So like, what happens if like, again, you can almost imagine this as if it was a physical circle. If there's like 13 people sitting in a circle and each of them are holding this crystal, the purpose of the crystal isn't so much that it's just the crystal. Like, yeah, that's cool, it's a crystal, but it's more so what the crystal represents by what we encode into it. And this is where it starts to get really trippy and metaphysical, because like the crystal becomes a story element. It becomes like a part of the story, and then through that it kind of like opens up into more potential. So part of the basic idea that I want to be able to do, and I'll talk about this Sunday, is to like invite people when they tune in for these global meditations to bring their light guardian crystal with them, and to just kind of like hold on to it. And as you're holding on to that, you're anchoring into the shared connection like with other light guardians. Speaking of which, as Turner literally has his on you, dude, that's awesome, man. Oh my god, this is so special right now. Yeah, no, like imagine, right? Like imagine like what it would look like to like literally just like get in the habit of like having people tuning into broadcasts with these. Oh, I love how you're like spinning it. Yes, man, you understand how to use it. I'm so glad. I'm glad you figured it out. That's cool, man. Sweet. How long have you had yours? Like, when did I send you your kit? Just out of
I
curiosity.
got mine just a couple, maybe more than a couple of days, but like just
Okay,
this
so
week
the
or the
last.
last week.
Yeah, okay, so you were the
I'm
last
very
wave.
thankful of everything that you sent in it. It's
Hey,
very
thank you, man.
cool.
Thank you, man. I'm glad you're having fun with it. I'm glad you can appreciate it. Like, yeah. So, like, again, with the light guardian crystals, one of the ways that we can use it, as Turner's also demonstrating, you can spin it and stuff like that. But you can also, like, hold it in your hand so that, like, the palm, like, the ball itself, like, the sphere kind of, like, sits in the palm of your hand. And then when when I'm not talking, when I'm still, like, I can use the object to feel the pulse of my entire body. Now, granted, you can do this with any object, more or less, but the fact that it's like a quartz creates kind of like this like conductiveness to it. So like if you have two of these, then you can like hold on to these, and believe me, like I've done this. And people can get two, you can't get two, but yeah, so like you're kind of holding on to it, and then if you're in your stillness, you can kind of like feel the pulse of your entire body through the crystal. And then again, it's just like, this is a whole conversation in itself, is like, what role do crystals play within group meditation. You know, like if we were to take this all the way back to Atlantis and ask them, hey, what were you guys using your crystals for? Do you think they might have said, oh, we use them during ceremony? Oh, we use them during meditation? Oh, we use them to be able to, like, you know, like capture like memory from dream space or something like that? Like, what did they use them for? And so we're kind of playing around with them in a sense, but the idea that we are playing around with them is kind of what allows us to explore them in this kind of like open, you know, like kind of like playful way, that allows us to make it our own. And that's where, again, you know, for me, I want to be able to build things over the course of months and months and months into these global meditations where people are like holding on to their light guardian crystals, anchoring into that space, and doing some shared freaking love lasers onto Earth, and like sending some Reiki healing onto Earth, and kind of using that also to go even further, taking things beyond Earth, and kind of like anchoring, using the light guardian crystal to kind of anchor into this bigger story of like the mythos of the light guardian, and kind of like, it's a bit of a mystery. Like, again, like I'm kind of like, you know, winging it as we go, obviously, but that's kind of how you learn. But again, it's kind of like using it as a tool, as a toy, to be able to open up into these bigger stories, into these bigger ideas, into these realms that have yet to be fully explored, in terms of like, especially like online digital communities and stuff like that. So it's something that I'm really just, you know, it's just like, I feel called to do it. It's like, might as well try. So might as well do it. So that's what we're doing. So again, you know, doing the global meditations, that's going to be really key. Again, like, it's going to take time, but I guarantee you in a month from now, we'll already begin to see the results, because there are going to be people who are going to tune in on Sundays because they don't work Sunday evenings. It's going to be easier for them to tune in opposed to Thursday evenings or whatever. And they're going to be like, hey, I really like, you know, what Brendon's providing. I see the value in it, and I'm going to turn into this again. And then if they pass it on to a friend, and then other people are like, heck yeah, I want to be a part of this too. Because again, you know, like some people, there's like, yeah, they can listen to people talk for a while, but some people, they're like, I prefer the value of what the meditation provides me, you know? So it's like giving them that option. But again, you know, what happens when we have these guided meditations with focused intention, you know, towards objectives and towards visioning, with, you know, 100 people, 200 people, 500 people. Like, literally my big milestone, one of the big milestones, it can go even bigger than this, is to do global meditations with 500 people tuned in live. And we used to do global meditations where we did have like over 250 people tuned in live, and then things changed on the internet, and we went through the apocalypse of the internet, and now, you know, we're continuing out of the ashes and things like that. Lo and behold, in case nobody noticed, like the apocalypse did happen on the internet. Like, there was been like purges and everything, and shit's gone crazy, but like paradigm shift is like still going strong. Like, it's still like, you know, it's like rising out of it. And you know, like, I think that's like really, you know, important. And the fact that we've like redone the website and again created the central location for live broadcasts, live.paradigmcentral.com, that's going to help, you know, accomplish things in the future. But yeah, no, just going back, Turner, we'll just talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll wrap up the broadcast in the next couple minutes. The idea of like, you know, like crystals and meditation and stuff like that. Do you feel like in your heart, what do you feel, you know, like we might be able to use these light guardian crystals for, in terms of like group meditation? Do you feel like, is it worth a shot, or are we just crazy?
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth a shot. You know, it's especially if people are able to hold them, you know, something physical that they can then attach to something that's, you know, not material, like meditation, you know, connecting with people over internet, you know, that in itself isn't like a physical thing that you can, like, you know, close your eyes and then, you know, hold with you or see, or, you kind of, there's a disconnect, so to say, from that. But if everyone has like these light crystals that they're able to hold and then use to connect with other people who also have them, you know, it's something physical that you can use to then connect to people who you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, again, like the light guardian crystals, like, not to hype these up, but I'm doing it. I'm hyping them up because honestly, like, they're
Hype
awesome.
train, get on.
It's a hype train. Everyone jump aboard. But seriously, like, these things are still like, the mystery of these things are still like revealing themselves to me over time, and as they have over the years and stuff. But there's a bigger story to these. There is like this is yet to be revealed. This is like kind of like spoiler territory and stuff like that. But there is actually like a single prime light guardian crystal that is like purely dedicated to like myself for now. That is kind of like almost like again, it's like meant to be kind of like a holographic fractal. So there's one prime one that's a little bit different from the other ones, and you'll see it eventually. You'll see it eventually. Like, I've never posted a picture of it online, and you'll understand why. You may not see it for another couple years. Oh god. No, I'm not crazy.
Years?
No, it's because of it's a part of the Journey to Lucidity movie. It comes into the Journey to Lucidity saga in the 5th one. So I have to finish editing those movies before I can like bring it out into like the story of this. So the sooner I can, again, I think of things in long term, stuff like that. But through the combination of the movie and the narrative that we are creating, it's this idea that each one of these crystals, again, is like a fractal of my own heart, of our shared heart, in that sense. Because obviously I've handmade all of these, and I've made these with intention. And so again, like, each one is like a pine cone in its own way. Each one is a fractal of the pine cone. So it's like this idea of, you know, items have energy to them. And this is kind of like encoding the shared energy of what Paradigm Shift Central is, of what it has the potential to be into an object. And to be able to replicate that object, to be able to clone it in a sense, and to be able to share it with other people. And so, I mean, like, there's a very powerful idea there. And, you know, like, when I was doing this, like, the term that I use is mega ritual. And this is like, it's kind of a term that like some people might be like, what the fuck or something like that. Like, but straight up, if that's the best term, if you can think of another one, that's totally fine. But, you know, like a mega ritual in the sense of kind of like, again, like this, like something that like spans over time and space and people and intention. But again, you know, like, I think there's like something really cool there. And there's a lot of potential there, and if the potential and the intention is to be able to like help make this world a better place, then it's worth it. It's worth a shot. And if it's gonna be, even if it's like a placebo, and even if it's just like making people feel more badass because they're a part of a shared story, then that's still doing it. That's, yeah, exactly right. Like, that's still serving a purpose and stuff. So yeah, and also with the light guardian crystals, I'll just say this because yeah, they're also like kind of like little like walkie talkies, so you can like hold them up and you can be like calling all shifters, this is Wolf, come on in. And then they'll be like, we hear you, Wolf, we're seeking him for the meditation now. So eventually as we become more psychic, we'll be able to like use these crystals to just kind of be like, and then like connect with each other. And then again, also Turner, I don't know if you've done this before, but like if you hold them on your finger just like kind of like that, and then you can like put it in your palm like that, you can like hold onto it like while sleeping. And so like that way, so it doesn't fall off your finger when you go to sleep. And you can turn it off, obviously, like it turns on and off super easily, but you can like just keep it in your hand while sleeping. And then you can actually potentially, and I've done this to a degree, but I have to go back and practice it some more, you can bring it into your dream. So like you're literally like holding it as an object physically, and then if you train yourself, you can literally bring it into your dream. And then when you're in the dream, you can use it as like a remote control or a lightsaber, or like I said, all sorts of things. Where you can be like, pew, 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 pew. So this thing's
You know, I really do a lot of work and bring a lot of intentions into my sleep practice. You know, I really feel like dreaming is as important of a realm of reality as waking life.
Totally.
You know, that's really cool. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of like experimental territory, but it's just like having fun with the idea. Dude,
Did you get the idea for these wands from Harry Potter?
No.
Because like I feel like this is kind of like my wand. You know, it's like a part of my identity.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. I'm glad you feel that way. But yeah, no, dude, like it's like People, it looks like different things to different people, but yeah, like some people are like, yeah, be like, is it like a lightsaber? Is it like Harry Potter? That's cool. It's like drawing and stuff like that. If people have ever seen the movie Atlantis, like the Disney movie,
Yeah.
they have these like shiny crystals, and they're like, holy shit, like that's it, right? But yeah, no, these things are freaking badass, man. And they're also like, I kind of play with them as if they're like a little like car or like a little like spaceship. So imagine you're like a kid and you'd be like, meow, meow, meow. But yeah, I love dancing with them too. Like they're fun to
Tapping
dance
back
with.
into your inner child.
Oh yeah, dude, totally, man. They're tools, they're toys, they're lots of things. So yeah. So again, for anybody who's like just like they're like, I want one. Sign up for the team Patreon. The links are in this video screen. You'll see it at the bottom scrolling across. Patreon.com/Brendon Culliton. The shifter booster kits are available, and you get the full shifter booster kit when you sign up for just a monthly micro donation of $5. You support the team, allows me to continue to work on this stuff as a full-time job, and allows the content to be able to be released for free for the community. And yeah, you can also order them individually through the Quest Item Shop, which is questitemshop.com, and there's limited supply there each month. But that's another way. But they cost like $35 plus if you're ordering them through that. So if that's like outside of your budget range, you can join the team Patreon, or if the one works better than the other, then feel free to do that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. But yeah, let's wrap up this broadcast. Otherwise, like I said, we're gonna be going to like 3 a.m. and it's like like there's 3 people tuned in right now, which is awesome. But I feel like let's kind of like, we're building momentum here, and then let's kind of like put like a cap back on the bottle before we like lose all the carbonation or something like that. Does that make sense? Sure, why not?
Yeah,
We'll save it.
good analogy. I like
But
that.
it's good though. It's good because we're like I'm enjoying myself, and like that's why I like doing these broadcasts, because like at the core of them, when they're working, like it's fun. Like I have fun doing them, and it's really fun to be able to like do them with you guys. And like I said, there's like a lot to be able to get into with these types of broadcasts, and so that's where there's a lot of opportunity to learn, a lot of opportunity to be able to share, to set intentions, to reflect, to be accountable, to work towards shared objectives. And like essentially, like think about what we're doing. Like what does it mean to make a team? What does it mean to lead? What does it mean to be a leader? Like these are all questions that I've been reflecting on in terms of like building community and things like that. Essentially being a leader is like helping focus people towards a common objective. And so like that's something that I feel is very powerful, and I feel like that's something that like a lot of people would be able to find value in. And again, if you look at the way how the internet works right now, there's a lot of people and they're just freaking scrolling, and like they're just like not engaging and stuff like that, and they're just like, I'm bored, but they don't really know what they want or something like that. Whereas
Yeah,
like with this, it's
yeah,
just like, oh, like meaningful interaction. That's what I was missing. Like that's what I wasn't getting out of looking at those meme posts all day, right? So it's like having that face to face, that heart to heart, like
yeah,
that's powerful, right? And so again, like through that connection and through leadership, it's about focusing towards objectives. And what are our individual objectives within Paradigm Shift? Again, it's about inspiration. It's about entertainment. It's about education. That at its core is like a big part of it. And then it's about encouraging people to like get out there, to take action in their real world communities, to go further than that in terms of creating the physical paradigm shift communities. Like that's always the objective in terms of one way or another. So again, like we might do a broadcast and it might be like 30 people tuned in, and then if like 1 or 2 or 3 people out of that are like, yeah, I'm going to create a paradigm shift community, then like that has a ripple effect, and that connects into like 30 people in their communities, and that grows and that expands through space and time. So that's effective. And then again, it's about also being able to create conscious media, which will be featuring through the website. You'll see those on Paradigm Shift Central News, the videos in the future, writing content for the conscious articles and the Quest journals, all sorts of awesome stuff. Well, at the same time, is keeping it simple. As well. And that's where like I'm trying to be mindful with like walking things through in protocol, in steps. So like I don't want to throw too much at people all at once, because I think that's what happens sometimes. People might go to like a new website and they'll land on it and they'll just be like, this is too much, like this is just like, and then they just don't go back to it or something like that. So it's like, again, for Paradigm Shift right now, like the objectives that I'm giving you, in addition to all the things I left like there, are to familiarize yourself with the schedule and tune in for future broadcasts. That's it. Like that's really, if at the very least, that's all that you would need to do. And again, even if you're listening to them in the future as well, like that's totally cool. And so again, you know, like that's kind of understanding that we have a variety of people within our community. Some of them are going to be more engaged. Some of them are going to be like me and Turner, who are in the hangouts. Some of them are just going to be watching. Some of them are going to be tuning in afterwards. Some of them, like straight up, are, you know, like people who are older than us, who really appreciate seeing us like youngins like kicking ass and you know, like helping lead things in the shift. And so like they might not be like in the hangouts, but they're like standing there on the sidelines. They're just like, woo, go team, yeah, woo. So it's like, shout out to everyone, because like you're a part of the team too, you know. Like we need
soccer moms.
Basically, yeah, no, basically, like soccer moms are actually a big demographic of the paradigm shift community. I'm not gonna lie. And I use that term very loosely, but straight up, no, like there is a good portion of the demographic in terms of people who like watch paradigm shift and stuff like that, who are females who are like over 40 years old. And that's awesome. I love that, right? Because like, again, I think they kind of like see what I'm doing, and they're just like, oh, that Brendon, he's doing stuff. I don't know what they would say, right? They're just like, oh, he's good for him or something, you know. I'm so proud of. I mean, there's probably some aspect to it where they're like, oh, he like reminds me of my son or my, you know, someone or something, or I don't know, right? But I think it's lovely, and I really appreciate all of the audience that we have here, and it's
the
great.
character you like formed in my head was like an elderly grandma with like a plate of cookies, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you."
Yeah. No, dude, that's totally it. And that's like, honestly, like there that exists in the community. We got grandmas in our community who are totally proud of us, not just me, of us. You know, so like they're like, for any of like the older people out there and everything like that, like you can adopt us if you want. Like it's already happened and stuff. So, you know, come in, tune in for future broadcasts, and we can hang out together and have fun. So, you know, I think that's important, is keeping it fun. So anyways, thanks for tuning in again. You know, like this is like the best broadcast ever right now, and we only have 3 people tuned in, but it's totally cool because we're helping build momentum, and we have to start somewhere. And like I said before, we have to kind of like do each broadcast as if there's already 100 people tuned in, as if there's like 1,000 people tuned in, because we kind of like set the standards, and this is all just practice. That way, so when we do have like 100 people tuned in, then we'll be able to like not just entertain them, but be able to provide like an authentic version of ourselves, and again, really be able to do some cool things for the community. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's wrap up this broadcast, just moving into like final closing intentions. And for anybody in the live chat, we got Unconditional Love, Michael Pratt, and Aaron Carmack in the live chat, and again, myself, Brendon, and Turner here as well. Aaron's saying, she's saying, I'm not a grandma yet, but you're describing me. LOL, love it, aloha. That's awesome. See, so Aaron can relate. That's good though. We need that. We need like all those different archetypes to hold space. So, you know, like it's really important. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate you being here. All right. So let's move into the closing part of the broadcast. Another thing I'll just mention on the screen, guys, you'll see like the other stuff on the right hand side. I have to like point, which my screen's reversed. The right hand side, there we go. The right hand side is you'll see like there's like the little like donation feature. Again, you can donate there through the tip jar, which is tinyurl.com/tipwolf, and you can help us reach our donation, which is like our monthly website costs and things like that. So again, you'll hear me doing this more in the future, and it'll be kind of more relevant when we have more people tuned in. Like, for example, we'll be doing a guided meditation, and then by the end of the meditation, I'll just be like, thank you again everyone for joining in. Please feel, you know, reminder to please like leave a tip if you're able to before the broadcast ends or after the broadcast, and then, you know, from there, like that money does help support the project, the expenses and things like that. That's a really great way to be able to help you know, like cover basis. And then again, inviting people to be able to sign up for the team Patreon is another very exciting part of the project as well, so that you can get cool light guardian crystals like me and Turner. Woo! I feel like it's like the part out of The Simpsons where it's just like, yeah, but only we have special rings. Woo! It's like, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyways,
Should put them in cereal boxes and sell them in cereal
I know,
boxes.
and I should turn them into whistles somehow. Maybe they are whistles. Does that work? I don't know. I've never tried using it as a whistle.
Mine
Actually, I
has a
might be able.
sharp point to it. It can be like,
If you were to drill a hole through it, yeah. It's funny because I know exactly which crystal you have. Like I can recognize it because like yours has like this like weird formation on the side of it, and it's really pointy. Like because I remember
yeah,
I was like it was one of the ones where I was like it was like like I like wanted to keep it for myself, but I honestly I say that about like almost like every single one. I'm just like, oh, this one's really cool. I want to keep it. But then I was like, no, it's going somewhere important. But that's really cool that you got that to that it ended up in your hands. So that's good.
I
It was
pulled
meant
it
for
out
you.
and it deeply connected with me.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, exactly right. Like, I mean, essentially, like, I'm an ambassador for the crystals, so I never, they never belong to me. I just help them get to their forever home. So, and maybe like, obviously be gentle with them. They can break, but I do a pretty good job of not breaking them. But they could break. Like it's polymer clay. It's not invincible. But like this could be passed on to like someone else. Like I love the idea. I love the story of like in like 60 years from now, someone will be like, "Here, son, this is for you now," and they like hand over the Light Guardian crystal, and you can use this to talk to aliens. Just hold it up to your third eye and then make a wish. Like
They
it's
pull out the
crazy,
box in your attic and they pull it out and you're like, "What's
right?
this, Grandpa?"
What is this? Oh, this
Oh,
is alien technology. It's just like, pretty much ancient futuristic technology. That's how I describe it. Cool. Yeah, see, Erin's in the live chat and she's talking about how she loves her light guardian crystal too. See, that's so awesome. Everybody here has their own light guardian crystal pretty much. So awesome. Sweet. All right. Uh, and Erin says, if you're still doing tarot readings, I loved mine. Thank you again. Erin, thank you as well for joining in. And again, Erin had a tarot card reading. And I guess for those of you who aren't familiar, for those of you listening, you can do tarot reading sessions with me. And they're super fun and good for gaining clarity and insight. And message me for those. They're available as a pay what you wish contribution between $5 and $25 US. Side note on that, because this is just like entrepreneurial mindset and stuff like that. Up until earlier today, I had my like pay what you wish bracket from like $5 to $20, and now I increased it from $5 to $25. So that doesn't mean I increased the price, but it means I've increased my value. Huh? Huh? So in that sense, I'm inviting people to be able to be like, yes, if you want to contribute $25, absolutely, because it helps, and I know that my time is valued, and obviously it's going to help, like, pay more bills and things like that. That's a big part of it as well. And so like having that mindset of like an entrepreneur to be able to really own your value is super super awesome, while still in my case choosing to still keep it as a pay what you wish. So again, some people, if they want to pay $5, if they can only pay $5, then the service is still available to them. And then for people who are just like, yeah, let's do it, let's $25, not a problem, then that's there, and then it balances itself out. And it's the same way why we do the pay what you wish with like the other items on the like the light guardian crystals and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of a cool way to just be able to like think about how we deal with money and value, and exchanging of energy and things like that. So yeah, it felt good to be able to be like, fuck yeah, I am worth $25. Like, fuck yeah, like that's cool. Like I've seen people charge like tarot. Some people will charge like like $60 for like half-hour sessions and stuff like that. Which again, like that's good for them. If there are people who are paying for that, good for them. Like I think it's again, it's you set the vibration for yourself, and the universe will respond to that. So like this is kind of getting into entrepreneurial mindset of stuff, but again, it's kind of this idea that like if you're feeling you're not attracting the right client, then you got to be really clear with like what value you're creating, what value you're setting yourself at. And then once you are clear on that, then the universe will like bring you the clients who are ready to match that vibration as well. So if you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to do things super cheap, and then you'll just keep getting super cheap clients and stuff like that, and that might work, but then you're just like, I want to take a little bit higher, and you're clear on it, and then the other people show up who match at that vibration, and then it still works. So the universe is very adaptable. You can play with it. You can like start a new job next week and you'll still be fine. The universe will provide, but you have to be able to meet it halfway. You have to do it. There's a difference between you have to be carefree but not careless. That was the message in one of the tarot readings that I did today for our friend who was on the air. He wasn't on the air. What am I talking about? He was. I talking to him earlier in the day, and he might be on air in the future. But yeah, we were talking about the Chariot card, and the Chariot card is all about regaining control over our base instincts, and it's about being able to like set precedents and being able to be again what I just said, careless. Carefree without being careless. So awesome. All right. Okay. Going back to what I was talking about like a couple minutes ago, Turner, let's wrap this up. Inviting you to be able to share any intentions and gratitude that you would like to express for yourself, for the team, and just whatever else before we close off the circle. So thanks again, man. Just passing the talking stick back to you.
So some intentions, or actually, I want to focus more on the gratitude. Some gratitude that I want to show, extend gratitude for being here, for being a part of this community, this discussion. Gratitude for everyone else that helped contribute to this, came by and showed up. And then gratitude, going out from here for whatever this snowballs into and how this will affect the future. I'm very grateful for that moving forward.
Awesome, man. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm glad you I'm glad you can kind of like see the vision of what it is that we're creating, because again, like that's what we need. We need people who can see the vision, not just what we're doing right now, but the potential of what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing. And and again, like I always kind of think about like how what we're doing right now kind of relates to I always kind of use this metaphor of like that like 15-year-old kid in Bumsville, Idaho, who happens to stumble across our website and is just like, whoa, this is really cool, and then suddenly it kind of like leads them on, it opens up new doors, it takes them in another
Yeah,
direction, it connects them with the community. And what happens when like we are here and we are present and we're able to lead by example, right? Like we can lead by example through online interaction, and then they can kind of like look to us as like role models, because again, like I think that's kind of something we need to keep in scope of, because I feel this is honestly like within the shift in consciousness. I feel what's kind of happened is that a lot of people who are kind of closer to our age kind of like went through the whole like 2012 thing and kind of like have gotten to where we are now and have like done all sorts of stuff. And then in some cases, there's like a bit of a fatigue. There's been like a bit of a drop off. And I feel in the midst of that, the next generation that's like right behind us has kind of been like left out on their own a little bit. Like whereas like we were kind of a little bit younger and we were coming into the 2012 stuff, and like again the internet was different back then, and we were just like holy crap, like okay, I'm on board, I'm good and stuff like that. But nowadays, like imagine being like 16 years old right now and you're just like just starting to open up to the metaphysical side of things. Like what do you do? Like who do you turn to? Where do you connect with? Like what's your first thing you do? Like obviously again YouTube stuff, that's a great way of doing it, but you want something further, you want something that has like a legitimate connection, and there's a lot of communities out there. But again, I think they provide different value, and I feel the value that what we're providing is unique. And I feel like again, like that's why we want to be able to attract people who are going to be able to resonate with that, and we want to be able to attract people who are perhaps in that younger demographic, who will be able to like step up and step into what it is that we are co-creating, and really be able to contribute to the team, because all of us have something awesome to be able to contribute. So it's great that we have a very wide demographic here, from 15-year-old kids in Bumsville, Idaho, to 6-year-old soccer moms. So put your high five, hold your hand up here for validation and high five it. Cool. All right, so just wrapping up this broadcast. Again, we can talk about this for a lot longer, but we're gonna wrap it up. Intentions and gratitude. My intentions from here, for me, now that we've got like this first broadcast kind of under wraps. Again, this isn't the first broadcast, but it's like every time we go through upgrades. It's just like, okay, relaunching the ship. So this is us like test flying the ship as we're starting to launch it like into new atmospheres, into new territories. We're always kind of like flying through space. We're already off planet, believe me, but we're like flying into like new parts of the galaxy. So it's just like tonight we were like testing the thrusters, making sure that the engine's working. We're just like, all right, things are good, things are working, cool. This means we can do the next steps. And so the next steps are to return for future broadcasts. So for me, the next step is literally the next broadcast is Sunday evening at 9:30 for the Sunday meditation, to get in the habit of that, to create the consistency of that, and then moving into the other broadcasts for next week. Again, check the schedule at live.paradigmshiftcentral.com. Well, at the same time, for myself, it's also going to be about managing the Instagram posts. Those are really important because, again, those are linking people back in. That's like a daily thing to be able to create good content. I created some really cool art that I haven't shared yet that I'll show you guys a little bit later. You might have seen a post I did yesterday, but it's like this like kind of like really trippy visionary art type stuff that I'm starting to get into. So for me, like part of my intention is kind of like explore new avenues of creation, of content creation. Another thing that I'm actually working on, it's like as I'm doing all this is like essentially opening up space for me to be able to create the foundations so that things are working, and therefore I can shift my focus back into more of the creative avenues of video production that I originally started with. And that's where like I actually want to get into creating like YouTube videos that are focusing on humor to be able to promote consciousness. And so this exists online, and obviously, you know, you think of people like JP Spears and you know, Russell Brand, and there's other people out there, but there's not a lot of it. But you know, like I went to school, you know, like I used to be like really big into drama and again, like script writing and things like that. And so I'm like, and I've really been feeling this call. I'm like, I want to make some like really weird, stupid, and funny YouTube videos that are like getting into some weird, trippy metaphysical stuff, you know? So it's just like, okay, cool, let's do this, right? So again, for me, part of my intentions from here is literally to like build the YouTube channel through creating cool, inspirational, viral type content, which then is going to link people back to these broadcasts as well. So it's kind of multifaceted. So yeah, those are just some of my intentions, and lots of other stuff going on. You know, school year's starting up here. New students are coming into town, so I want to get downtown and do some like more free hug stuff, connect with them, even some Mystic Spider-Man stuff, and free hugs as Mystic Spider-Man. And yeah, just really for me, it's going to be important for me to really stick with my schedule, to stick with my consistency, to make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to do to be able to like manage the project that we got going on. And it's possible. It's going to be challenging, but the challenge is like stepping me into the potential of what I'm capable of. And parallel to this, it's also going to be able to create multiple streams of revenue that are going to be able to bring up my monthly income. My goal for like monthly income is to like be able to earn like 2.5 thousand a month, which is not a hell of a lot, but it would be a big step up from where we are now. And again, like that's like important for my livelihood. That's not just like me making money, that's me supporting my livelihood so that I can continue to be of service to the community. So that's going to happen through the Patreon, that's going to happen through the tarot card readings, that's going to happen through the donations as we get more into these broadcasts, that's going to happen through the quest item store that we are going to be selling items through. So again, you can see like this broadcast took place now because prior to now I was like doing all of this other back end stuff, such as refining the website, such as creating the quest item shop, taking care of myself. All of those things are essential. So the foundation is there, and now we are building, and it's going to get very exciting. It's going to get very creative, and I'm really, really, really grateful to be able to share it with you guys. So thank you everyone who's like super, you know, like interested in what we got going on, because you know, I think there's definitely some very exciting things to be able to share with you guys. Oh, and I'm going to finish editing Journey to Lucidity 3 so that I can eventually finish editing Journey to Lucidity 4 and 5 eventually, and maybe go film Journey to Lucidity 6. Oh god, I don't know yet. I said I wouldn't do that until I finished the 5th movie and stuff. So, full-length movies are hard to finish these days, guys, when you're multitasking entire projects at once, but I promise I will get it done. So again, huge gratitude to everyone for tuning into this. Thank you so much. You guys got all the bases. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Again, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Brendon Culliton. Subscribe on YouTube. Click that bell icon notification to get notifications. Did I say that right? And leave some comments down below if you guys are tuned into this. Again, shout out to those of you in the chat. Really appreciate you guys being here. Oh, last thing I'll mention, God, I should have mentioned this earlier, but it's okay. Join the Discord server, because that's where like chat is going to be happening during the day. That's really important. The Discord server is on the main website. You'll see a little button that says Discord chat. Click that, click connect. Super easy. Join the Discord chat, and you'll be able to communicate with me through there during the day. I kind of post like work as I'm working on it, like any graphics and stuff. I'll post it there ahead of time, like outside of Instagram and my Facebook. And it's where I'm going to be like working on like communicating with you guys in the future. Right now, like the Discord's been like very quiet, which again is just like where things are at. Again, this broadcast, relatively quiet, 3 people and stuff like that. But again, creating the space, having the open door, and continuing to move forward. If you build it, they will come. If we just gave up, obviously it wouldn't work, but we got to start from ground zero in order to be able to move forward. So inviting you guys over to the Discord server, jump in, let me know if you tuned into this broadcast, and get in the habit of joining the Discord daily, even just to check in, leave a comment, let us know if things you're working on, touch base, join the different groups there. And yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this, oftentimes very experimental, but also very exciting project that we got going on. So that's all for now. And the little mission I have for you is to, everything that I just said, get familiar with the schedules, join the Discord, all that online stuff, create a membership on the profile if you haven't yet, and tune in for future broadcasts, as I mentioned, and get out there and make conversations happen, talk to people, plant those seeds, look for places to be able to organize paradigm shift communities if you're feeling that call, do free hugs, and keep it shifty, as we always say. So Turner, join me in saying farewell to the internets. Or let's just take like 2 breaths here. We're not going to do like a full meditation, but let's just like take like let's hold our light guardian crystals, and let's just take a breath.
Get into sync.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously. So, okay. All right. Okay. So just gently guiding us into like just like 5 breaths, just a little moment of oneness, a little moment of connection. So not even really guiding it too much, but just inviting you guys to join me in being quiet and just sit with the feeling of what it means to be connected with a global team of light guardians, and to be able to have that shared vision, and to know that what we are doing is helping assist and accelerate and open up new realities right before us. So accelerating the shift with purpose, intention, and compassion. Breathe. Just take one more breath here. And gently, when you're ready, you can open your eyes, return your awareness to the space around you. So awesome. Well, even just that was beautiful, and I could definitely get in the habit of doing that longer. Yeah, essentially the guided meditations on Sundays, it'll just be like me like talking for 5 minutes, and then it'll just be silence for an hour. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Depends on the genre of meditation we're doing. But again, even just in those moments when we were just taking like 5 minutes, just like shut up and just like quiet the mind. Even in that moment, if you listen closely, like I heard it, there was a whisper from the universe that was just like, "You guys are so awesome. Keep doing it. You're awesome." And they're just like, "Oh,
you're a badass.
You're a badass, and you're really cute too." It's just like, "Oh, you humans are so cute." So if you're tuning into this, I just want to remind you that you're badass and you're cute all at the same time. So, whew. All right, let's wrap this up. Turner, thank you so much for joining in, and I look forward to being able to do this again with you, man. This is really fun. So. Cool. All right. Much love to all the shifters out there. Turner, join me in making some like animal howl noises and sending some love as we play the outro music and wrap up this episode. So join us next time at paradigmshiftcentral.com. Much love, everyone. One more. Until my throat's gone. All right. Much love, everyone. Thanks, man. Take care.